Welcome to Star Chat, the podcast, where we dive into the latest and most fascinating news from the world of space exploration. I'm your host, Carl, and I'm excited to share with you today's topic, the race to the moon between the United States and China. As we've been following the developments in space technology, it's become clear that China is making significant strides in its lunar program. In fact, some experts believe that China may be ahead of schedule in getting to the moon, with a possible crewed landing by 2029 or even 2028. This has sparked concerns about the United States' ability to maintain its leadership in space exploration. The Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon by 2025, has been facing several challenges, including delays and cost overruns. The human landing system, spacesuits, and the SLS rocket are just a few of the components that have raised concerns among experts. Despite these challenges, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman is working to get the program back on track, and private industry is building an impressive array of commercial space vehicles and capabilities. But China's persistence and steady development of its lunar program since 1992 may give it an edge in the moon race. As one expert noted, the US-China moon race is like the tortoise and the hare, with NASA having the capabilities, but China having the persistence. The constant changes in the space program, driven by political considerations, have also hindered the US effort. The implications of China beating the US to the moon are significant, with potential consequences for national security and international partnerships. As we explore this topic further, we'll examine the complexities of the space race and what it means for the future of space exploration. We'll be right back with more fascinating space news on Star Chat. Welcome back to Star Chat, folks. We're diving into a fascinating tale that's out of this world, literally. You might have heard about the latest report from PwC, where they've attempted to put a price tag on the lunar economy. That's right, they're talking about monetizing the moon. The study forecasts that the total cumulative revenues from lunar surface activities between 2026 and 2050 could be in the order of $93.9 to $127.3 billion. That's a staggering amount, more than the GDP of most countries. But here's the thing. This isn't their first attempt at predicting the lunar economy. In 2021, they published a report projecting revenues of $170 billion over up to 2040. So, what changed in the past 5 years to dampen the prospects? It's not entirely clear, but one thing is certain. The idea of investing in moon-grown beef futures is still an intriguing one. In related news, a medical journal recently published corrections to over 130 papers, revealing that the case studies they'd been publishing for 25 years were actually fictional. Yes, you heard that right. The journal had been presenting made-up cases as real patients, and it's raised some serious questions about the integrity of scientific research. It just goes to show that even in the world of science and technology, things aren't always as they seem. And speaking of things that might not be entirely truthful, have you ever received a press release that seemed too good or convenient to be true? We've got a great example of one that landed in our inbox recently, touting the importance of hydration for sleep quality, courtesy of a company that just so happens to make soluble electrolyte tablets. Welcome back to Star Chat. Today, we've got a fascinating story to wrap up our show. You know how scientists are always trying to learn more about the early days of our solar system? Well, they just got a unique opportunity to do just that, thanks to a comet called K1. This ancient icy object was formed about 4.6 billion years ago, and it's been flying around our solar system ever since. Recently, K1 swung closer to the Sun than Mercury, and the heat caused it to break apart. But here's the cool part. As it shattered, it revealed its inner workings, giving scientists a glimpse into the primitive materials that make up our solar system. It's like taking a core sample of the early solar system. The Hubble Space Telescope caught some amazing images of K1 over 3 consecutive days in November, showing each fragment with its own glowing halo of gas and dust. The team studying K1 thinks that the breakup began about 8 days before the first image was taken, and they even caught another chunk splitting off as it happened. But what's really interesting is that telescopes on Earth saw the comet brighten later than predicted. which might be because a comet's brightness is more closely linked to sunlight reflecting off dust rather than newly revealed ice. K1 is also unusually low in carbon compared to other comets, which could help explain some of the mysteries of our solar system. And the best part? All of this was discovered by accident. As one of the scientists said, sometimes the best science happens by accident. Now, K1 is headed out of our solar system, and it will probably never return. But the discoveries made from its breakup will help us better understand the origins of our cosmic neighborhood. That's all for today's Star Chat. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember to keep looking up at the stars.